Assalamu alaikum, students. Today we study some of the most important Muslim scholars in Nigerian history, men whose knowledge, courage, and dedication shaped the Islamic landscape of one of the world's most populous Muslim nations. Nigeria is not merely a receiver of Islamic knowledge from the Middle East. Nigeria has produced scholars of international standing, men who wrote books still studied today, established institutions that serve millions, and reformed their societies through scholarship and faith. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to identify at least 4 major Nigerian Muslim scholars, describe their contributions to Islamic scholarship and Nigerian society, and explain why their legacies matter to you as a Nigerian Muslim student today. Sheikh Osman Dan Fodio, full name Osman Ibn Fudi, was born in 1754 CE in Gobe in what is now Sokoto State, Nigeria. He is the most significant Muslim figure in Nigerian history. Osman Dan Fodio was first and foremost a scholar. From a young age, he studied Quran, Hadith, Fiqh, Islamic law, Sufism, and Arabic literature. He wrote in Arabic, Hausa, and Fulfulde, making his scholarship accessible to ordinary people, not just the elite. His complete works include over 200 books and treatises on Islamic theology, law, and ethics. A passionate concern for the rights of the poor and oppressed, including women's education, which he vigorously promoted, defined his scholarship. He argued that women must be educated in Islam's obligations because they cannot fulfill what they do not know. The Sokoto Jihad of 1804 to 1808, which he led, was not primarily a war of conquest but a reform movement to purify the Islamic practice of the region, establish Sharia governance, and lift the oppression of the poor. The Sokoto Caliphate he founded became one of the largest states in Africa in the 19th century, with the Sultan of Sokoto as its spiritual leader. The Sultan of Sokoto remains a major religious figure for Nigerian Muslims today. His daughter, Nana Asmayu, herself a poet, teacher, and scholar, continued his educational mission after his death, establishing a network of women teachers, judges, who brought Islamic education to rural women across the Caliphate. Sheikh Abubakar Mahmud Gumi was born in 1924 in Gumi, Zamfara State. He was one of the most influential Islamic scholars of the 20th century in Nigeria. Sheikh Gumi served as the Grand Qadi, Chief Islamic Judge, of the Northern region of Nigeria. He was instrumental in the establishment of the Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, SSCE, in Nigeria. His most famous contribution was his Hausa translation and commentary of the Quran, the Rad al-Adhan, making the Quran accessible in the Hausa language to millions of Nigerians who did not read Arabic. Sheikh Gumi was known for his fearless criticism of innovation, bid'ah, in religious practice and for his views on political Islam. He founded the Jama'atu Izalatul Bid'ah wa Iqamatul Sunnah, JIBWIS, one of the largest Islamic organizations in Nigeria, which promotes a return to Quran and authentic Sunnah and now has millions of members across the country. He died in 1992 and is buried in Kaduna. Sheikh Ibrahim Niasse was not Nigerian by birth. He was born in Senegal in 1900 and died in 1975, but his influence on Nigerian Islam is so great that he cannot be omitted from any discussion of Nigerian Muslim scholarship. Sheikh Niasse was the Khalifa, spiritual head, of the Tijaniya Sufi order, one of the largest Sufi brotherhoods in West Africa. His spiritual teachings attracted millions of followers, particularly in northern Nigeria, especially in Kano, where the Tijaniya Mosque in Kano is one of the most important Islamic institutions in West Africa. The Emir of Kano, Muhammadu Sanusi II, and many of Nigeria's most prominent northern leaders have been associated with the Tijaniya tradition shaped by Sheikh Niasse's teaching. Nana Asmayu, 1793–1864, daughter of Osman Dan Fodio, deserves special recognition as one of the greatest female scholars in African history. She was fluent in 4 languages: Arabic, Fulfulde, Hausa, and Tamashek, and authored over 60 known works, poetry, history, and educational texts. Her greatest contribution was the Yen Teru movement, a network of female teachers called judges who traveled to rural areas to teach women Islamic knowledge, practical ethics, and domestic skills in a time when formal schools were rare. This was a grassroots female education movement in 19th century Nigeria, centuries before many Western countries allowed women in universities. Nana Asmau's legacy is studied in universities worldwide and is an inspiration for every Nigerian Muslim girl who seeks knowledge. What do these scholars have in common? They were all deeply committed to knowledge. They read, wrote, and taught. They were concerned with justice and the rights of the poor and women. They were courageous, willing to challenge both cultural tradition and political power when it contradicted the Quran and Sunnah. They invested in others. Their legacy lives on through their students, books, and institutions. As a Nigerian Muslim student today, you are heir to this legacy. Osman Dan Fodio began as a student. Abubakar Gumi began as a student. Nana Asmau studied under her father. Every great scholar was once exactly where you are now, learning, questioning, and growing. Let us review. Osman Dan Fodio, 1754–1817 scholar, reformer, founder of Sokoto Caliphate. Over 200 books, promoted women's education, Hausa, Fulfulde, Arabic scholar. Sheikh Abubakar Gumi, 1924–1992 Grand Qadi, Hausa Quran translation. Founder of JSS, millions of followers, fearless teacher. Sheikh Ibrahim Niasse, 1900–1975 Tijaniya Khalifa, enormous influence in Kano and across Nigeria. Nana Asmau, 1793–1864 daughter of Dan Fodio, 60+ works, 4 languages. Yen Teru, Nigeria's first female rural education movement. For homework, choose one of the scholars studied today. Write a 1-page biography and explain one specific way their legacy still affects Nigerian Muslim life today.